Burnout is awful. It's never fun when you pick up a comic book or try to watch a show and you just can't for some odd reason. And with anime and manga being some of my favorite mediums and being pretty much the main thing I talk about here, it's a little ironic that for the past almost 2 years, I've been dealing with a burnout. I mean, I've only watched and read about maybe a little over 10 things anime and manga related during that period of time. So, though I love manga, it's hard to make videos when you just can't read it. Especially if it's a long-running series. Sometimes I don't want to sit down and read chapter after chapter, arc after arc, part after part, universe after universe. I think you get the point. Sometimes you just want to kick back, pick up a series, and be done with it after maybe an hour or two, maybe even less. And so today, that's exactly what I'll share with you. I went back and looked at some of my favorite short manga that I personally finished in like an hour. So let's just get started with the first one, which is Hideout. After the death of their son, Kirishima Seiichi tries to fix his marriage by going on vacation with his wife, who absolutely hates him. This is a 9-chapter horror manga that I finished in like 30 minutes, and I had fun with it. I'm trying to avoid spoiling the series I talked about today, but as you can see, this is a horror manga, so things definitely don't go as planned. I think the main thing about Hideout that gets your attention is the art, because it's genuinely fantastic. The shading alone is unbelievably good, and even the colored pages at the start look phenomenal. I love this art style a lot, and there's a lot of gorgeous pages where there's no dialogue, just giving you the creepiest looking thing ever. The overall vibe and tone of this series is super eerie and weird, and the twist at the end was pretty cool and unexpected when I first read it. It's fun if you're in the mood for a weird, creepy-looking series, though I don't think Hideout is actually scary, especially if you compare it to other series like PTSD Radio, from what I've heard anyway. But next up is Abara, a hectic, action-packed manga written and illustrated by Tsutomu Nihei. This manga is just awesome, and is one of Chainsaw Man's biggest inspirations. It's set in a sci-fi world where humanity is kinda like destroyed, like the world is, like nature. And just like in Blame, Abara has these detailed, awesome-looking robot monster. I don't even know what to describe these things. They almost look mechanical, but they're also people or something. But they're monsters. It's just so cool. So basically, the plot is that there are these mutated creatures called White Ganas, who are like people that were infected and are now these evil killing machines. And there's also these massive ones, and our main character, Denji, has a Gana of his own, but one that he can control, called the Black Gana. Nihei is probably one of the coolest mangaka ever, and I think that's because of the way he writes his series. Nihei is a show-don't-tell kind of author. There's rarely any exposition or explanations as to what's going on. You're just thrown into this weird and detailed and complex sci-fi world with all these monsters and gadgets that are some of the most fun things you'll ever see in science fiction. And his art, oh my god, his art. This is raw. Just look at it, man. Like, my goodness. I love Nihei's style so much. It's so messy, but at the same time clean, and his use of really dark shadows is just, mwah, my god. This is a fun and super short read with some of the most enjoyable fights ever. Man, I love Nihei's design so much. I could just look at this all day. But number 3 is Bibliomania. This is a really weird one. Very good, but very weird. The first thing is that Bibliomania is actually read left to right, like an American comic book. So it's not read like your average manga. I remember being really confused about that when I first read it. But this is very abstract. Bibliomania is just really eerie and has a super unsettling feel to it. But it's about a girl named Alice who lives as a guest in this white void where all your dreams and desires can come true just by thinking about it. Every guest has a number on them as well, Alice being number 431. And when the guest amount reaches to the number 666, get it? Get it? Religious symbolism.
Get ready to receive some Holy Spirit. Jesus!
A party will begin. No guest is allowed to leave, but if you really wanna, you have to make it to room 000. But leaving a room will rot your body. The more rooms you go through, the more you rot until you will probably die. Like I said, it's super weird, but that's exactly why I love it. Also, because of the art. I really don't want to spoil this, obviously, but the art near the end genuinely reaches berserk levels of detail. It is amazing. It's like a more creepy and dark version of Alice in Wonderland, even though Alice in Wonderland on its own is already weird. And also because the first chapter is called Alice in Phantasmagoria, so that's a little reference. And our final manga of today is All You Need Is Kill, which is based off a novel. If you're a big manga fan, you might have noticed that this series has the same artist as Death Note, Takeshi Obata. It's about this military guy who is fighting in a war against these creatures called mimics. But in the middle of battle, he dies and comes back to life before the incident happened. This is a fun, quick, and intense action manga where you can honestly just turn your brain off and watch this guy go crazy from dying over and over, for the most part anyway. It's not just mindless action. Seeing the protagonist repeatedly go through this loop of death and rebirth or whatever and trying to improve to change the outcome that seems to be inevitable is just really enjoyable. And the art is obviously going to be good because it's Takeshi Obata. I love this guy's art. I love Death Note. There's also a movie adaptation with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt called Edge of Tomorrow, I think, where they actually change the main character's name. They change it to like Bill or something. It's like they didn't want to use the Japanese name because it's Tom Cruise, so the most bare bones American name, just Bill. But yeah, I haven't watched the movie. If anyone's seen it, maybe comment your thoughts down below, or, you know, if you want to compare it to the manga. Oh, and there's a character whose nickname is Full Metal Bitch, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, here are some of my favorite shorter manga. If you're feeling a burnout, just try one of these, though that is easier said than done sometimes. If there's anything else you want to see me talk about, follow my Instagram, obviously, because I do a lot of updates there, and, you know, comment stuff down below, because I love hearing input from my viewers. But yeah, that's about it. Goodbye.
It ain't hard to tell, I excel, then prevail. The